Welcome to the Real Estate Scripts Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. Before we begin today's episode, I want to clarify some important points. I am a licensed real estate agent and my DRE number is 018534445. It's crucial to note that this podcast operates independently of my affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. My primary goal with this podcast is to provide you, our listeners, with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, that's not how I sound, and I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So, read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out. Okay, the script for today is strategic offers and maximizing negotiation success. If you look at the progress that we're making through the buyer transaction, Mondays are always reserved for a presentation, buyer presentation, seller presentation. And they don't always line up, by the way. Like buyer presentation doesn't not always line up with the buyer transaction. Sometimes it's a buyer transaction, a buyer presentation, lead generation, things like that. This happens to line up perfectly with this particular week. If you notice, prepare the buyers on Tuesday. Wednesday is ongoing service to the buyer. Thursday is buyer offers and negotiations, and then Friday is contract to close the buyer. We're going through the full process of the transaction. And today is buyers offers and negotiations. I'll set this up and then we'll break out. In this scenario, you are advising your buyer on the importance of strategic offers and negotiations. You highlight the balance between competitiveness and respecting property value while considering the seller's perspective in approaching negotiations strategically. Requirements are a strong understanding of the local real estate market, effective communication and negotiation skills, ability to analyze property values accurately, and knowledge of strategies to build a strong negotiating position. The intention is to discourage the buyer from offering too low and instead encourage them to make strategic offers that increase their chances of success in negotiations. How many people here have a client who just want to place low offers? Yeah. Yeah. And if you ever get an investor, watch out because you'll
That's
write off.
me. That happened to me. Both of those.
Yeah.
They did not get
Notorious.
the house. Either of them.
It's really difficult to get an offer, a low offer accepted in a market like right now. I mean, even though the
Right?
interest rates are where they're at, people are still coming in above asking. At least they are in our area. How
Yeah.
is it in San Francisco, Miguel?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Above asking. Yeah.
Florida? How's Florida above asking? You're on mute. Florida's on mute. Shannon, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was printing, so I didn't want to. But no, they're probably coming in below asking right now, just due to the fact that Florida prices are going down right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and break out and practice this script, and see where we go. The whole idea is to prepare our buyer. You know, hey, it's tough out there. I don't recommend always coming in low. I'm not saying don't. That's not what we're saying here. We're just saying have the conversation that we need to respect some things that are going on. If you really want to win an offer and get a house, then we need to to follow the process and some tried and true techniques that have actually worked throughout history. Okay, Emily and Miguel, have you met each other?
No, hi, Miguel.
No. Hi, Emily. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good, good, good.
All right,
Miguel,
go ahead.
Emily is here in San Diego as well,
Great.
and Miguel is in San Francisco with a company called SF Dwell, right? SF
Yeah.
Dwell?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, okay,
Yep. And
nice.
yeah, and to answer the question, just so that I know that we talked a little bit yesterday. Uh, this particular site is, and this is for everybody to hear. Real Estate Scripts Practice is a completely non-branded, not associated with Keller Williams Realty. It just happens to be where my license is hung, and that's where I keep my license. Yeah, and I prefer it that way actually
Yeah.
because I want people from all brokerages, all real estate companies are welcome. Okay, let's do this. Miguel, we're gonna have you start out today.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. We'll have you start. Emily's gonna be your crazy buyer, the low ball offer buyer, and
That's
she's
me.
nice. And when you're ready,
Sounds great. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi. Good.
Good, good. So I
sorry,
wanted to
sorry. By
go.
the way, we're kind of in the middle of the conversation too.
Yeah.
By the way,
Oh, okay, okay.
we're not starting out
Setting.
like, hey, hello, not like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
So Emily, finding the right balance in your offer is very essential. It's very crucial. It's really important to be competitive while still respecting the property's value. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on finding that balance.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense because I want to make sure that I put in a good offer. I want to get the house.
Yeah, most definitely. So what we'll do is we'll analyze the recent sales of similar properties in the area in order for us to be able to determine a fair offer range. We'll also consider factors such as the property's condition, location, and unique features. Did you have any ideas of what other aspects are important to you when writing the offer?
Um, just what I think the house is worth.
Yeah, totally understandable. So it's essential to consider really the seller's perspective as well. And of course, I myself will be very in touch with the seller's agent. So if we know what that is, then we'll take into account what their motivation is and the current market conditions. Um, Particularly since, pretty often we don't always know the motivation of the seller. So that's always important to take into account. If the seller is eager to sell quickly, we might have more room for negotiation. However, in a competitive market, a significantly low offer might not be as favorable. Um, did you have any thoughts to ensure that our offer strikes the right balance while considering the seller's situation?
Well, yeah, I want to make sure, maybe ask them if they have other offers or something, and that way I could see w what to offer. I don't want to go crazy and go way above what they're asking. I'd rather stay at their asking price.
Yeah, definitely. And well, yeah, I think that's very important to be able to kind of,
It depends
get
on the
understanding of
house
what.
too. I mean.
Yeah, of course. Depends on the property's condition, what other offers have been presented.
Mhm.
And ultimately, by presenting a strong offer that aligns with the property's worth and market conditions, we establish a very solid negotiating position. So this demonstrates your commitment as a buyer and also enhances the chances of success and really just getting your dream home.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. It sounds good.
Perfect, perfect. So first, I'll analyze the market data to determine an appropriate offer range. What we'll do then is discuss your options and develop a strategy to maximize your chances of success. How does that sound?
Yeah, I like that approach.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So once we establish that offer range, what we'll do is we'll carefully evaluate the seller's situation. And by that, just me being in contact with the seller's agent, just to kind of get what that motivation might be, considering factors like the time on the market and their motivation, or as I had mentioned, their motivation. Um, This will help us tailor our negotiation approach. Do you have any specific or concerns or questions about the negotiation process?
Not really. I think, I think you sound like you know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Yeah, so it's also important to just be able to make sure we maintain your own personal financial boundaries. So we'll establish a clear budget from the start and consider your priorities to approach negotiations realistically. I'll keep you informed and involved throughout the process.
Well, I appreciate you keeping my finances top of mind because that sure is that's my priority as well.
Yeah, 100%. So the next steps to involve finalizing the offer is preparing the necessary documents and ultimately submitting the offer to the seller. So what I'll do as your agent is I'll guide you through each step, just ensuring that we have a smooth process. Any final questions or concerns that you had for me before we get the ball rolling?
Not really, I think I'm ready. So, want to get it done.
So glad to hear you're ready. All right, well, let's move forward with confidence. We'll work towards your securing your dream home, and I'm just very excited about what lies ahead.
Okay. Awesome.
Very good. Nice job. One of the things that I wanted to say is a couple of days ago, I was showing some homes. This is probably a conversation for everybody because everybody needs to hear this. But I was showing some homes, and the listing agent had to open the house because there was not a lockbox. I guess his client didn't want a lockbox on it. And he met us there. I had my guy there, and he says, he just starts talking. Here's all about the house. Here's everything you need to know. Sellers really need to sell. It's a contingency sale because they really need to find somewhere else to go. So I asked the question just out of curiosity, why are they selling? I'm digging into motivation, right? He says, oh, because they're having financial issues and really can't afford to live here
Oh, I
anymore.
see.
Yeah. And not uh by divulging that information, because he was telling me that they need to move pretty quickly. And that was the only question that I had to ask was why are they moving?
Mhm.
And some people are just very quick to just tell you the whole story. And the challenge with that is he's giving up leverage that he has, and I'm gaining leverage, right? I know why they need to move. I know they need to move. They need cash fast, and they
Mhm.
haven't had offers on the home. It's been on the market for 28 days. I don't feel like it's overpriced. Not sure exactly why it hasn't sold yet. No offers, he said, so far. But him giving up that information, if they want to write up an offer on that property, then I would certainly use part of that conversation to give my client the advantage. But what's the one rule that our contracts say about motivation?
That you can't share the motivation of your client. You have to keep that privy to you.
Yeah.
And so he unwittingly, I guess, did that.
I guess so.
Or
I'm
he
not
was
sure.
lying and he wanted you to make an offer.
That could have been it too.
Maybe they just
Yeah.
want to get the hell out of California.
Yeah,
Yeah, or they really needed, really wanted that cash quick. So he probably just was like, okay, I'm just going to share it.
Maybe.
exactly. What's
I
the
mean,
one ex
probably it's
what
true. Because who says that if it's not true? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
he said a bunch of other stuff too that was like, dude, you shouldn't be telling me this stuff, And um what's the one exception though when it comes to motivation?
The exception would be if
Yeah,
they say it's okay to share that
right.
in
Exactly.
writing.
Yeah, in writing, right? In writing. Just something to think about when you're talking to other agents, because agents will
Mhm.
dig, 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 and that's their job to ask questions.
And,
right?
they are salespeople, so they're good at, a lot of them are very good at getting information without
Yeah.
seeming so.
Which is what we're doing here.
Yes.
We're
Yep.
practicing, right? So just be careful. That's all. Let's reverse roles and have Emily go.
Okay. So, Miguel, finding the right balance in your offer is so crucial. It's important to be competitive, but still respect the property's values and respect the sellers. What are your thoughts on finding that delicate balance?
Yeah, I mean, I as long as, we're just keeping my finances into account, I mean, being able to find that balance is totally understandable. Of course, you mentioned I want to make sure I respect the um seller's motivation and offer, or what the seller's looking for as well.
Hey,
Mm.
let me, can I change it up just a little bit? Let's consider that Miguel has a home in front of him and he wants to make an offer on a home. Miguel, what's an average price of a home in your area?
One point 1.4 or 1.3, 1.3, 1.4.
Okay, let's go with 1.4. He wants to make an offer on a home at 1.4, and you're going to have this conversation with him about that price because he wants to make a 1.2 offer.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
Hold on. Zoom is opening
Sorry, I
weather.
just want to change it slightly.
Mhm, mhm.
No, that's fine. So, Miguel, finding the right balance in your offer is very crucial. It's important to be competitive, but still respecting the property's value. So the home is listed at 1.4 and you want to come in at 1.2. To be honest, of the homes that I've showed you that have sold in the area are going between 1.4 and 1.8. So I think the listing price is fair, and we do have to respect the property's value as well as the seller, who's putting their home on the market. Sometimes offers that come in a little low, they will not even take a second look at. They'll be like, oh no, that's too low, because you're coming in $200,000 under ask. So let me tell you, or let me ask you, actually, what are your thoughts about finding that right balance? Because we've analyzed the recent sales, right? We've looked at the home. It's in great condition. It's in the location that you want. It's got the unique features that you're looking for. Are there any other aspects that bring you to coming in at 1.2 rather than at least going in at ask at 1.4?
No, not necessarily. I totally agree. I think, we should, I definitely do want to make sure I respect the property's value and make sure my offer is competitive. Emily, I did want to ask you, are you aware of how many offers that the seller had received?
I did speak to the listing agent. They do have a few, and that's, I quote, few, he would not give me a specific number, offers in. So in order to stay competitive, I suggest you do not go in at 1.2, that you at least go in at ask. And it could be just maybe more favorable terms
Mhm.
in the offer that might get your offer some attention. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, and I think that's something that we can definitely move move forward with.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think presenting a respectful, strong offer that aligns with the property's worth and the market conditions, are a good place to start negotiations. At least we won't get put to the side immediately. We
Mhm.
might get a counter offer if they want something else. So, let's move forward and put the offer in at 1.4
Great.
instead of 1.2. Is that okay with you? I mean, I totally want to respect your position as well. You're my client. I don't want you to do anything that you don't feel is worth your time or your money, because your money is important. in your finances. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I really appreciate you taking my finances into consideration. 1.4 I think is totally understandable. I kind of hoped that I would be able to save 200 grand, but I want to make sure my offer is competitive in order to get this dream home.
Awesome. Well, thanks for seeing it in my way, so to speak. I think you'll have a stronger chance of getting the home at 1.4. So I'll go ahead and write it up and we'll send it in. Sound good?
That sounds great. Thank
All
you,
right.
Emily.
Thanks, Miguel.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So that was a different perspective, right?
Yeah, totally.
How do you think that conversation would really go?
Not
Well,
like that. He was too easy.
Not
He's
not as
like, yeah,
smooth.
I see what you mean. Let's bump it up
Yeah.
200K.
Yeah, he was too easy, but at the same time, I think you helped him understand, like, look,
Yeah, I agree.
if you want this home, the average prices of homes are between 1.4 and 1.8. If we put it at 1.2, you're pretty much guaranteeing
Or you're
that,
wasting your time.
yeah, you're wasting your
Mhm.
time and you're
Our
not going to
time.
get it, both of your time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think as a client, probably part of it is also understanding if there are other offers, then I think I'd consider it a lot more to bump up my offer.
But you're
I
not
think
always
if
going to
it,
know that.
yeah, no, of course.
I
But
mean,
I'm just,
maybe I can't get a hold of the listing agent, but you still want to get your offer in. Maybe they're
yeah,
not returning my calls or my emails or whatever, because that happens too.
yeah, true.
So,
Yeah, that happens a lot. And realtors are notorious for not calling people back.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I called one lady for a potential client, still hasn't called me back. I just asked her if the two primary bedrooms don't share a wall, because that's what this lady's looking for, and
Wow.
never called me back.
I
So,
got when I first started in real estate, well, it was after I decided to not work with buyers the traditional way. It's when I got involved with blogging and social media, and I started doing a lot of internet lead generation. A lot of people started to tell me when I was posting stuff online, look, I've called 10 people before you. You're the first one to answer, or you're the only one to answer, or you're the only one to call me back. And if you're going to put your information out there,
Wow.
call people back. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
no, wow is absolutely right because we got a lot of
Yeah.
clients that way. We got
And
a
I
lot of
just think
clients.
it has to do with, like myself, I get spammed so much.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people don't return calls, because there's so much garbage out there.
Hmm.
People trying to sell me leads, people trying to get me to join their brokerage, other stuff like that. It's just like, get out of here. So I
Yeah,
think
and
Right.
I'm
maybe
getting
that's why.
more and more every day,
Yeah.
especially on my Keller Williams email.
Yep. I want to mention a couple of things that we had a conversation about really briefly, and then I want to ask you all a scenario. One, motivation. This is a big word in here. Motivation is not meant to be shared unless permission has been given so. If you ask a question, why is your seller selling? Or why are they selling? And this just happened to me a couple days ago. Oh, because they're going through financial trouble and they need the money fast and just giving up a lot of stuff. I'm thinking, does your client know this? Because you're giving me leverage to write up an offer. Like I know that you need cash fast. And in this case, I would say because I know that they haven't gotten an offer in 28 days or 30 now, whatever it is, um, I would I would actually advise my client either come in at asking or maybe just below because they don't have any offers on the table and they need the cash fast. And I've gained that leverage because he divulged it. Gives me leverage. They lose leverage. Those who are asking the questions are in control of the conversation. Number one. Number two, I got an interesting text this morning about the same client. And I gonna be careful not to give any contact information here. But here's what it was. It was from a lender and says, "Hey, do you think your client is comfortable with $700,000?" I'm thinking, and I go, I don't know. That's a question for him. I can't answer that, right? Some of you will get this. Makes sense. I was
Mm.
just thinking,
Oh,
you would see him and you would ask him. I go, well, I'll definitely see him again, but don't rely on me. I won't remember. Ha ha. And that's my way of saying, you go and ask them. You do your
right.
job. I'm not
Yeah,
going to, I'm not going to determine what our clients can afford or not. That's not
yeah,
for us to decide. Would you all agree with that?
yes.
Would.
Has to come
So
from the client, what
It
they're
does.
comfortable with.
Now, I bring that up because when Emily and Miguel were talking, we changed the script up a little bit. Emily, pretend that you are making an offer to Miguel or for Miguel. Miguel is his average price of a home there is 1.4. He was going to make an offer at 1.2 in this scenario using the same script. And she had to advise him why it wasn't a good idea to come in lower. And having that conversation, backing it up by facts, CMAs, market trends, what's active, what's already sold, all that type of stuff. I mean, these are the types of conversations. And if the lender came in and said, "Well, do you think they can?" I don't know. I don't know. Let's go back, do your job, ask the client, and then we'll determine. But I'm not going to advise, and this is why it came up. I'm not going. We can advise, we can show material facts, we can show facts. This is what's going on in the market, but we can't say, you should place this offer at 1.5. And then I guarantee you'll get it because I guarantee you if they don't get it, they're going to come back screaming at you too. Or if they do and they get the wrong type of loan or something like that, something's going to come back and bite you in the butt. What do you all think about that?
Yes, I agree. The
Does that ever
client
happen?
needs to make the decisions.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like a better question would have been like the question should have been rephrased or restructured, like, hey, would you present an offer of 720 for these to our clients? Is that kind of like where the wording that person has used is basically saying that about their finances, right? Like the way that they said it, like, can they afford this? And that's
In
what,
this in this case, it was the lender asking me if my client was comfortable paying $700,000.
yeah.
And that's not for me to determine. That's a conversation between the two of them.
Yeah.
Now, how would you respond? How would you respond? And it is 9:03, so if you have to go, I totally respect it. We'll be finished soon. How would you respond though if you were the listing agent and I asked you the question, why are they selling?
They're ready to move.
I mean, I think it would depend on the reason. If, let's say if they were having financial issues, I wouldn't divulge that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now if they were like got another job in another state and they just needed to relocate, I would just say they need to relocate.
Mhm.
I wouldn't even say
think it
that
would-
because that's motivation. Because what if they have to start that job at the beginning of the month, next month? So they want a quick sale. I wouldn't say that. I'm just say that they're ready to move.
Right, and I can understand that as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
They
it's
need a bigger house. They need more space. Yeah, their family have grown and they need more rooms. Like,
it's really something to think about because you all will be asked that question if you haven't been asked already. You're all going to get asked that question or you'll ask the question, right?
And I've been
And
asked that question. And like when I do an open house, people that walk through, why are they moving? This is such a great house.
mhm.
Oh, they're ready to move. They
I
want to
mean,
be closer
normally-
somewhere else. I don't know. They're tired of San Diego. They're, whatever. But I
Like,
don't ever divulge something that could attach a sense of urgency to it.
right. Normally, I don't ask those questions because really, I mean, is it really any of our, as a buyer's agent, is it really any of their business why they're, I mean, I know we try to find the motivation, but I mean, the house is on the market for a reason.
True.
Mhm.
So obviously they're motivated to sell. So why would I need to pry and get personal information from that?
As a buyer's agent,
As a buyer's agent calling
to
to
leverage
listen.
your buyer's position, I think, just like Darren said.
Yeah, just like Darren.
Yeah, I feel like we have like two different perspectives kind of all coming into purview, right? So if you're on the buyer's agent side, like my buyers ask me like, why are they selling this house? It's perfect. And why are they doing this? I'm like, I mean, we don't really know, but you know, we can talk about like, are there repairs that need to be made? Like, are they motivated to sell because of the timing? You know, things like that. And so then if I were on the other side being asked those questions, and when I'm the buyer's agent asking an agent, passing on the question, so to speak, I'm not asking that same question, right? I'm not asking the buyer's agent or the seller's agent, why do they want to sell? I'm asking like, how motivated are they? How quickly do they want to close escrow? And sometimes those agents ask me those same questions, like, how quickly do your buyers want to do this? Like, are they willing to fix repairs before? So they're like talking, we're like talking a different language than the buyers are talking, than the customers are talking to us.
Right. I agree. I would be calling the seller's agent to see, have there been multiple offers? And even though they can't divulge the offer amounts, they could say, yeah, there's several over list price, or no, we haven't
No,
had
there's
an
no.
offer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Look, these are just questions to think about, right? I'm not going to say anybody's right or wrong here because it's just something to think about when you're talking to either an agent to agent conversation or an agent to client conversation. And where are you? What kind of position does this put your client in? You know, because the goal is when you're selling a home is to get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. We all know that. The goal to help your buyer is to help them find a great deal at the least amount of money, right? You're trying to get them the best deal.
Mhm.
And sometimes our clients are like, yeah, yeah, I'm totally comfortable paying over 50 grand because they are, and they've told you that. And if they're okay with it, then that's the conversation you had. I'm just saying, keep in mind, be aware, know where you're at, because it can either give you an advantage or you might lose a little leverage. That's it.
Mhm. Okay.
Cool.
Right.
Good conversation today, everybody. Love it.
Thank you.
That's about it. I'll be on for another few minutes if anybody wants to talk.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. Take care, guys.
Thank
Have a
you,
good day.
guys. Have a good day.
Bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Wendium. All right, so that's the script. I hope that you found it useful. Just head over to realestatescriptspractice.com for more resources and downloads. This content is for educational purposes only and does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek the help and or advice of your broker, coach, mentor, office manager, attorney, and or financial advisor. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall, a licensed real estate agent, DRE number 018534445. This content operates independently of Darren's affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. The intention is to provide you with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. Please note that all results may vary and participants are responsible for their own actions.